It starts with a family who live in this snowy area, isolated from the world. This is where he spends his life. This family consists of only 2 people, although there is one person among them who is never seen, so most of the time, Luke and his mother are together. So today, the man who is actually Luke's father has come. He is away from them, but sometimes he comes so that they can get their necessary things. For example, today he has brought ration items for them. Seeing this, Lou is very happy, because after a long time he wants to eat something good. In the break of talking, he makes him sit down to teach. So far, everything seems to be perfectly fine. A father is teaching his son, and his mother is sitting next to him. What a beautiful moment to see. But the fact that the tree bears fruit does not necessarily mean that it is worth eating. Luke's father punishes his mistakes, not him but his mother. That too in a very bad way. He comes in front of him and asks him some questions. And whenever he answers the questions wrong, he slaps his mother hard. This goes on for the whole time. And then there comes a time when the questions are over. Then his father tells him to go outside and play. He has some work to do. Saying this, he takes his mother to the bedroom. But after a while, Luke becomes very uncomfortable as to what his father is actually doing. Is he still beating his mother? To check this, he slowly tries to peek in through the window of their room. At that time, she saw her father getting intimate with her mother, but seeing this act, her father got very angry and told her that after today, he would never come home again. Hearing this, Luke's mother Clara went crazy. Although John never saw him in the eyes of his wife because he had abandoned her and her child many years ago, he sometimes came there to make her feel better. But today, when she saw this act of Luke, she got so angry that she left without spending the night. Clara now started to fear that he might never come back. That is why she started running after Leo's car and repeatedly shouted at him to stop. There was no one else in this world except him. But John had made up his mind. And Clara also realized that he would never come back. Because of this, she increased the speed of the car. And he took his hands off the steering wheel. Very quickly the car now started moving towards a frozen lake. And Luke, who was sitting inside, repeatedly asked his mother why she was doing this. But Clara seemed to not hear anything. When Luke saw that the car was now completely in the middle of the lake, he immediately pulled the handbrake. As a result, the car stopped. And he quickly got out. Now he kept talking to his mother to come out. But his head was only looking at her. In the meantime, Luke could see that the snow on the log under the car could break at any time. That's why he raised his voice even more. But Clara, who was still sitting inside, was not amused. He even says that he will become an orphan. Besides, he has no one else in this world. But Clara has made up her mind. That as long as John was there, she had life. After he left, she should end her life. That means she has no love for Luke. Now, seeing his mother die in front of his eyes, Luke completely breaks down. And there he starts crying. The scene shifts to a detective, who has been divorced a few days ago. He has a son but lives with his wife, who has now married a second time. In the meantime, we see a woman named Rachel who is returning home from him like every day. But today something new happens. Actually, when she is in the car, she sees that a red car is following her. After following her for a long time, she stops her car on the side. But the car drove on without stopping. She thinks that maybe it was her wrong idea. Then she returned to her house. At that time, her husband and daughter Johnson were there, but her husband's duty was at night, so he went to work shortly after she arrived. And Raquel finished her work and went to her room. Someone knocked on her window. She was shocked, but why would someone do something like that at this time of night? She went to the window to see. No one was there, but there was one thing that seemed strange to her. That red car was standing very calmly under a thick tree outside her house, and a freshly made snowman was next to it. This morning, Johnson first of all started looking for his mother. But today she was not at home. Where had she gone this morning? Now we come to our detective Harry, from whose nature we can clearly understand that he drinks as well as smokes. And not just once but many times, because of which his condition is not very good. But this thing does not hinder his work. There is no detective in the area better than him. And the police understand this. Today he met with a girl, the one who just joined. And he makes fun of Harry's poor condition a bit, but then he also compliments him, which he has to do because what he heard from people is true. The girl offers to give Harry a lift to her house because she doesn't have her own car. Harry agrees. In the meantime, they get details of a new case on the way, where a missing complaint from a woman named Raquel is shown that she has been missing since last night. Before going home, Harry says, "I want to go to her house so that I can see some things with my own eyes." When he gets there, he tells Catherine, "You go and question the neighbors, and I have a little chat with this kid." They both go separately. When Harry talks to Johnson, many things are not done in that house today. For example, there is always unrest between the husband and wife. Because of this, the children have never received the love they deserve. On top of that, they both give more importance to their own work. But what does this have to do with this case? Anyway, on the other hand, Catherine also hears the same thing from her neighbors. That something often happens at their house. Then she lets Harry go to her house. But she makes a mistake and brings Catherine's file with her, which was from the case he had been working on. Harry opened it, and we learned that the file was for a woman who had died almost 9 years ago. But a few days later her body was found on a snowy mountain. Her body was cut up and rotting. And when he met Harry the next morning, he gathered some more information about the case. And he said that this is not the first death, but 3 more women have died in exactly the same circumstances. A snowman was also found next to the bodies of these 3, which we saw outside the house. I feel like there is going to be a little trouble. I'm going to take a break and go back to the main video. There is a special offer for you. The world's most popular global bookmaker has a special offer for you. In the app, you can win prizes like live matches, iPhones, laptops, and even BMWs. It may sound incredible, but many have already received their rewards. Here you can predict the score while watching live matches. For example, which team will win, how many runs will the team score, etc. Also, you can win a lot of money by playing games. Everyone's favorite game is the crash game. The higher the plane rises, the more money you can win. The best thing is that if you use my promo code MNTAN, you can get a bonus of 20 to 30,000 Taka, which money you can easily withdraw to Bcash, Rocket, Nagad or bank if you want. And for any help, they have 24-hour customer support. So what's the delay? Follow the instructions in the pinned comment. And don't forget to use MNTAN in the promo code box. Harry's brain starts running like a supercar. He starts getting into this case completely now. But today he has made up his mind to meet his son. So he doesn't want to be late. That's why he immediately reaches there, where a concert is going to be held. There he has a good time with his son. But when he goes to drop him home, he sees a new father there. He gets a little emotional. In fact, he knows that if he and his wife are separated, then it is entirely his own fault. But now the matter has gone too far. That is why he returns home without saying anything. And just at that time he gets a message that an urgent case has come. So early in the morning, Catherine goes out. A girl named Cynthia, whose missing complaint was written a few hours ago. Her house is quite far from the city, but Catherine can easily reach there with her off-road BMW. Once there, she takes a big hobby. There, she sees that Cynthia is already here. Maybe someone has played with her. That is why she starts to go back, but in the middle of the road they get a call that Cynthia's missing complaint was written again a few minutes ago. So they ask again, who wrote it? Can we get her address? After getting the address, they reach there with her. So there they see Cynthia standing there. But for a minute it's not that Cynthia. In fact, it's her twin sister, who says that yes, I wrote a missing complaint for my sister, because she can't be found a while ago. But Cynthia met him a while ago. If it's not Cynthia, then who is she? That her twin sister says that she's been calling him for a long time. But there's no news. Then they both decide to go to that house again. But now it's too late. They find Cynthia's beheaded body there. Whose pet? Chickens are eating him, but Harry can tell by the warmth of his blood that this happened just a while ago, so he goes with them so that he can find some evidence. Then he looks around and sees some footprints, which are now fresh even in the snow. But he finds something even more terrible, which no one could have imagined. Actually, there is a snowman there, whose head is replaced by a snowman's head. And when the news of this thing reaches the police department, they send the entire force to the area. If someone has done this, then they must be a crazy or psycho. Harry now goes to his higher officer with this matter, because this murder is very big. For this, he wants his officer to give permission so that he can form a small team with Catherine, for which he needs some special and most qualified detectives, so that his job will be easier. At first, the officer does not agree with him, but when Harry tells him the style of the murder, everyone is shocked. And after hearing this, he is given permission. Harry returns to the office, where he gets more information about Lila from Catherine. In fact, Lee was the first victim, whose murder happened 9 years ago. And it is also not confirmed whether the murder was committed by this murderer or by someone else, but the manner of killing of both is very similar. After Catherine leaves, she opens some files, where she sees a doctor, whose name is Dr. Ader. Actually, he is the doctor of both of them. So, he must know something. That is why she goes to him to talk to him. But the doctor makes it clear that he does not give his patients' personal information to anyone, so they should leave because there is no use in standing around. He also understands that there is no use in this. But that night he comes across something else that can play a very important role in catching the thief. The thing is that Dr. Ader has a long-standing relationship with a local businessman named Frederick, and that businessman bought a company with a man named Frederick a few years ago. Now you might be wondering what the connection is between these things. So in fact, Frederick's wife was none other than Layla. And this connection forced him to meet Frederick. He cleverly arranged a meeting with Frederick. At that time, he asked a lot of questions about his wife. Frederick says that when his wife was murdered, a detective named Raft was very behind the case. But one day her body was found in his garage. The department closed the case as a suicide. But I don't think so. Because I knew Raft very well. That man couldn't end himself. Now there's another aspect here. That's why Harry started getting information about Raft. After a while, he learned that Raft was a pretty good detective, but his home situation wasn't very good. So he lives in a cabin with his daughter, whose name is Catherine. Yes, Catherine. Why is that Layla so crazy about the case? The reason is actually to find her father's murderer. In the meantime, Catherine gets a message from the department in the office where she works. A while ago, Raquel's phone was activated. And the location is Dr. Ader's house. She immediately reaches his house and sneaks inside. On the other hand, Harry now goes straight to Catherine's father's cabin, so that he can see some of those things with his own eyes. Meanwhile, when Catherine enters the house, she feels a pinprick silence around her. As if someone has been here before. And now she has taken everything with her. Then she moves forward. She sees some footprints, which are going towards the garage. She turns in that direction. And then what she sees is that her soul is separated from her body. There, Ader is sitting on the chair. Only her body is there, not her head. And this is how Raft also died. And at that time he had a shotgun in his hand, which everyone thinks that he committed suicide. But why would someone give himself such a horrible death? There are easier ways to die. Seeing this horrible scene, that terrible moment in Catherine's past becomes fresh again, which she is trying to forget with great difficulty. Now this news reaches the department, and everyone reaches there along with Harry and his team. They search the house very thoroughly, and this time they find another body, which is Raquel's. Now the whole case is like an open book in front of them. Everyone starts to think that the real murderer is none other than the doctor himself, because there is only one human footprint outside his house, which means it is clear that he first killed the shepherd and then he himself came to the garage and lost his life. The department closes the case on this matter and also suspends Catherine because she hid a lot of evidence from the department. And she tried to solve the case on her own. In this incident, she completely breaks down. He still feels that the murderer did all this on purpose. This is not the first time. Rather, he did this to my father too. So that everyone would think that he had taken his own life. But I know my father. He would never do such a thing. Even today, that man is roaming the streets. Who knows who will be the next victim? Harry promises him not to be afraid, because he will find his father's murderer. But Catherine now takes this task on her shoulders, and goes straight to Arav. She convinces him to meet her alone by making him jealous of her beauty. But before he comes, she spreads her net all over the room, so that he can end his game as soon as he comes. But before he can get there, the murderer comes. He catches Catherine. Now he also tries to attack her. But that can't happen. Instead, he dies. The mine cuts off his finger. And with that, he opens the laptop and deletes all the evidence forever. Now, you can guess that the murderer won't be caught so easily. On the other hand, Harry wakes up and goes to the window. Then his eyes fall on Catherine's car standing below. Above, we see a snowman being made. Inside is her body. This is the work of the murderer. He wants to send a message to Harry. He still has a chance. Otherwise, he will have the same fate. This time Harry is enraged by the deaths of his close partners. He immediately informs the department and tries to check Catherine's laptop. But it is completely blank. Everything has been deleted, so Harry realizes that he has to start everything again. So he reaches out to Raquel in front of Philip so that he can hear those words for himself. In between these words, he tells her that he and Raquel both went to a hormonal doctor a few days ago whose name is Dr. Head. Hearing this name, Harry remembers this name of his ex-wife's fiancé, and immediately hides in their house and starts investigating. At that time, he finds some papers that belong to dead women who have been killed in the same way for the past few years. And the most surprising thing is that among them are the papers of those who are about to die now. The next number was Angels. He immediately calls his department and asks to get all the biodata about Had. After a while, we learn that Had's real name is Luke. Yes, Luke. That boy from the beginning died in front of his eyes. He just watched. Harry immediately goes to his old house. When he gets there, he sees Luke holding a knife to Angel's throat. And his son is there too. The two get very scared. Seeing their situation, Harry puts his gun down, because he knows he will do anything without thinking. Now, Luke is playing the same game that his father once played, but he is on a different level than him. He tells Harry that he will ask him some questions. If he is not satisfied with his answers, then Angela's neck will be separated from her body. You can ask me some questions. Harry's first question is, why is he doing this? Then Luke starts to open his life path. He says he never got love from his parents, even though he knows that his father is always away from his mother, but his mother loves him more than her own life. But in the end he is more selfish than his father. He thinks about his own husband, but I have a little bit. When he leaves her, he feels like he will be completely finished. Despite my warning, he did not get out of the car and gave his life. But what about me? I am alone. Since then, after he left, I have a fire inside me. And to extinguish it, I start killing those women. Those who value their work more than their lives. Not their children. I have killed many women like this. Now he has asked himself before Harry thinks to himself that he has to do something. Seeing the right time, he jumps on him. Now a fight starts between the two. But Luke can't last long. Because Harry is a trained detective. That's why he starts running away from him. And then he goes to a place and disappears. Then Harry shouts that he can't run away today. Then suddenly a bullet is fired, which hits Harry straight in the shoulder. This is the job of Luke, who now comes outside, because he thinks that Harry is dead. But as he moves forward, his foot falls on a thin piece of ice. He forgets that the place he is standing on is actually a frozen lake. Like his mother, he also starts to enter into her. Harry could have saved her if he wanted to. And he could have handed her over to the law. But he doesn't try to save her. Because she deserves that death. When Harry returns, he meets his family and hugs them. And this is where the movie ends.